SOE Part 2. This covers the guidance on non-retail packaging or containers. With the publication of the new Strengthening Organic Enforcement Rule, the USDA National Organic Program has created new labeling requirements for non-retail packaging and container labeling in Section 205.307. New rules define non-retail packaging and containers as any container used for shipping or storage of an agricultural product that is not used in the retail display or sale of the product. Non-retail containers are used to ship or store either packaged or unpackaged organic products. The new updates in SOE require that all non-retail container labels identify contents as organic and include information linking the container to audit trail documentation. Audit trail documentation associated with a non-retail container must identify the last certified operation that handled the product. Two primary motivations for this rule were to promote traceability and organic integrity. The USDA NOP is not requiring tamper-evident seals on non-retail containers. Operations may use tamper-evident seals on non-retail containers if they deem it necessary. AmeriCert will start enforcing these rules on May 1st, 2023. The USDA National Organic Program will start enforcing these rules in March of 2024. This presentation covers some of the main points from this rule and AmeriCert policy. It defines non-retail packaging and containers. It discusses that all printed packaging and container labels must be submitted to AmeriCert for review and approval in draft form. It discusses that no printed packaging can be used without AmeriCert's approval. It discusses the SOE requirement of identification of the product as organic on the label. It discusses the requirement of the use of a lot number or unique traceability identifier on the label. It discusses the use and placement of the phrase Certified Organic by AmeriCert International. It discusses that there can be no alteration to the colors or design of the USDA organic seal. It discusses the optional use of the AmeriCert International seal. It discusses the contingent right to use of printed packaging and container labels. And it discusses limited exceptions to organic identification on non-retail packaging used to store or ship retail labeled products. Non-retail packaging and containers defined. The NOP regulations define non-retail packaging at Section 205.2. The NOP has issued guidance which states that non-retail packaging and containers are any container used for shipping or storage of an agricultural product that is not used in the retail display or sale of the product. Non-retail containers are used to ship or store either packaged or unpackaged organic products and may include the following: produce boxes, totes, bulk containers, bulk bags, flexible bulk containers, harvest crates and bins, boxes, crates, cartons, and master cases of wholesale packaged products, and trailers, tanks, rail cars, shipping containers, vessels, cargo holds, freighters, barges, grain elevators, silos, grain bins, or other methods of bulk transport or storage. Non-retail containers are not used to display organic products for sale to the consumer at retail establishments. Packages that display organic products for retail sale to the consumer must be labeled according to Sections 205.303 and 205.306. All printed packaging and container labels must be submitted to AmeriCert for review and approval in draft form. No printed packaging or container labels should be printed or finalized unless the operation has submitted the proposed printed packaging to AmeriCert International in draft form and received explicit approval from AmeriCert. It is not uncommon for AmeriCert to require revisions or changes to proposed packaging. Operations can avoid the costs of discarding non-compliant packaging by ensuring that they only print packaging once it has been specifically approved by AmeriCert. It is a significant non-compliance to use labels that have not been approved by AmeriCert, and in most such cases, AmeriCert shall both issue a notice of non-compliance and require the payment of contractual non-compliance penalties. No printed packaging can be used without AmeriCert's approval. No printed packaging or container labels can be used unless the operation has submitted the proposed packaging to AmeriCert International in draft form and received explicit approval from AmeriCert. Once packaging has been approved, no changes, even minor ones, can be made to the design of the packaging unless the new design is submitted to AmeriCert for review and approval prior to printing. Once certified, the operation may not develop any new packaging unless the operation has submitted the proposed packaging to AmeriCert International in draft form and received explicit approval from AmeriCert. It is a significant non-compliance to use labels that have not been approved by AmeriCert, and in most cases, AmeriCert shall both issue a non-compliance and require the payment of contractual non-compliance penalties. SOE now requires identification of the product as organic. Under Section 205.307A of the NOP Organic Regulations, non-retail containers used to ship or store organic products must be clearly labeled with a statement that identifies the product as organic. Operations may use abbreviations or acronyms to identify products as organic, provided that they are clear and easily understood. This provides flexibility for operations to meet the requirements of Section 205.307A1 and makes it easier to label containers with limited space or containers that are difficult to label due to their size, shape, material, or use. In very limited circumstances, operations may use temporary labels or signage to meet the requirements of Section 205.307A. This provides additional flexibility for containers that may be difficult to label due to size, shape, material, or use. However, please contact AmeriCert if you anticipate using temporary labels or signage to meet the requirements of Section 205.307A, as such situations are approved only on a case-by-case basis. All non-retail packaging and containers used to ship or store organic products must display the production lot number, shipping identification, or other unique information that links the container to audit trail documentation. This is true regardless of the packaging or container's size, shape, or use. This can be a production lot number, shipping identification or information, or other unique identifier or information for that shipment that handlers can use to trace the container to its associated audit trail documentation. This creates a clear link between container and audit trail and minimizes the size of labels by allowing some information to be listed in associated documentation instead of directly on the non-retail container label. Non-retail containers used to ship or store organic products must be labeled with information that links the container to audit trail documentation per Section 205.307A2. Such documentation must be sufficient to determine the source, transfer of ownership, and transportation of the product, and must identify the last certified operation that handled the product per Section 205.307B. Listing the last certified organic operation provides a point of contact to verify the organic status of a product and supports operations traceability, record keeping, and fraud prevention requirements. It also supports on-site inspections and supply chain traceability audits conducted by certifying agents by ensuring good record keeping of the critical transfers between certified operations. The phrase certified organic by the certifying agent certifying the product directly below identification of the final handler or distributor is suggested but not required. For instance, an AmeriCert certified product would carry the following phrase on the packaging: manufactured by a company, certified organic by AmeriCert International. Note that the placement is specific. First, identify the final handler or distributor, and then immediately below follows the phrase Certified Organic by Americert International. Unrelated text or images between the identification of handler and the Certified Organic by statement should be discouraged. There can be no alteration to the colors or design of the USDA organic seal. The use of the USDA organic seal on non-retail packaging and containers is not required but is optional. However, if it is used, it must be in compliance with the color and design requirements of Section 205.311. Frequently, applicants or their graphic designers decide that a few alterations to the colors or the design of the USDA seal would improve the look of their packaging. However, under Section 205.311 of the USDA Organic Regulations, no alterations to the design or colors of the USDA seal are permitted. The allowed versions of the USDA organic seal are as noted in the visual PowerPoint presentation. One is a full color seal with green, white, and brown as depicted. One is a black and white seal as depicted. One is a black and white seal with the white portions rendered transparent so that the label background color shows through the transparency. And one is the black and white seal with the upper semicircle rendered as transparent and the term organic rendered in white. The label background color would show through the transparent upper semicircle. Note that there are no inversions of a colors or design are allowed. The design must strictly conform to one of the four designs shown above. To obtain high-quality versions of the USDA organic seal, please go to the USDA's website. The link is available in the PowerPoint. Non-retail labels and packaging and containers have an optional use of the Americert International seal. It is not required to use the Americert Organic seal on packaging and labeling, including that of non-retail packaging and labeling. If operations elect to use the Americert Organic seal, the regulations require that the Americert logo is not placed more prominently than the USDA Organic seal. Operations can contact Americert to access copies of the Americert International Organic seal. There is a contingent right to the use of printed packaging and container labels. As a matter of contract, an operation is permitted to use labels and packaging that use the Americert International marks and phrases such as the Americert seal or the phrase Certified Organic by Americert International, as long as the operation remains certified by Americert International. If certification is surrendered, revoked, or suspended, the operation loses the right to use any labels or packaging containing the Americert seal or the phrase Certified Organic by Americert International. There are limited exceptions to organic identification on non-retail packaging used to store or ship retail labeled products. Non-retail containers used to ship or store agricultural products packaged for retail sale with organic identification visible on the retail label are not required to identify product as organic per Section 205.307A1. Only non-retail containers used to ship or store agricultural products packaged for retail sale where organic identification is visible on the retail label are accepted from the requirements of Section 205.307A1. Examples include master cases and pallets where the organic identification, such as the USDA organic seal or organic product name, is present on individual retail units. These are exempt from Section 205.307A1 because the organic identification is visible on the retail label. Note, however, that these types of non-retail containers are only accepted from the requirements of Section 205.307A1. All non-retail packaging and containers must be linked or traceable to audit trail documentation as discussed above in these slides and per Section 205.307A2. This ensures traceability of the product in the containers and supports organic integrity during transport, storage, and handling. If you have any questions, please contact Americert by phone or mail or email. Our address is on our website.